Well, we're fresh out of the first racing weekend of the year, which was at Donington Park, and who better to have as our first guest than the man who leads the Ginetta Junior Championship. We'd not even seen him in the championship prior to this weekend. But a big pleasure, therefore, to welcome Georgi Dimitrov. Welcome along. Thanks for talking to us, Georgi. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm much better after the weekend. It was over, celebration. So yeah, feeling good.
That's good. What I want to do in these interviews is really introduce the drivers to the viewers. We don't get an awful lot of time, particularly in junior racing, because it's so hectic. We don't get much time to talk about the backgrounds to the drivers, what they've done before. So an opportunity for us to get to know a little bit more about you and to talk about what you've done. And that might help other drivers understand the path through to car racing and Ginetta Juniors. So first of all, how did you get involved in motor racing? Has it been a passion since you were much younger?
So actually, we were on holiday in Greece in 2012, I think, and there was a go-kart track there, and I tried out karting for the first time ever. And my dad really got me into it because as a young kid, he always wanted to do it. So, I was enthusiastic about doing it because as soon as I stepped in, I was already intrigued by it. So I just wanted to make it a living for myself, just to race in karts. So that's where it all began, really.
And what age would you say that was?
I'm pretty sure I was 6 or 7.
And you had a very early idea that this is what you wanted to do for a career, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
That's a really good thing to do for youngsters, to have that path in their head and to start to map it out. And then, of course, you've gone competitive kart racing. So take us through the various stages of your kart career, and don't be modest. Tell us how you've done in it.
So in 2013, I started off with Fusion Motorsport in Honda. They set up a team for me, to run with two other drivers in Honda, and it was obviously my first year in the Super One series, and obviously I was still getting my craft in there, so I wasn't as good as all the other drivers who had raced a couple more years. But I started off in Honda in 2013 and 2014, carrying on, and then I stepped on into Miami Cadet in 2015 and 2016, where I led on to be quite successful actually at the end of the 2016 season, finishing 6th in the Super One Championships and having multiple podiums at the end. So that's where it really kicked off from 2016. 2017 moved on in Mini X30 at the end of the year to win in Mini X30 to become British champion. So that's where it really got me kicked off. Between them 3 years, really, just learning my craft, getting better and better at things. And in 2018, I jumped into juniors, racing in Europe and in Britain. I did more in Europe than what I did in Britain, because Britain, I only did the final round of the championship, but Europe really got me going really in the championship. More people got me, they saw my face and they started knowing me a little bit more through the European paddock. So I made a name for myself there. So 2018 juniors, and then 2019 I did the full junior championship in Britain.
Yeah.
And in senior I could actually do the in Europe. I could actually do the senior championship because the age limit was a little bit lower in senior. So I managed to do the senior championship in Europe, where I finished 8th for my first season, which is not too bad at all. And in junior in Britain, I finished 3rd, which is also, 2 successful results for me, which really kicked me off into obviously moving up into cars. From all those years of racing karts, I managed to improve myself, become a better driver with also the people I had around me. I took advantage of that, learning from other people who had a lot more experience from me. So it really kicked me off when I jumped into Ginetta with Richardson.
Well, that's good to hear. And just sticking with kart racing for a bit, it's a very busy paddock. Wherever you are, it's bigger than car racing, isn't it? The number of competitors that you're against in any of the championships you take part on, the numbers are incredible. So to get those successes, I take my hat off to you.
Yeah, it was good. I'd been already last year or 2 years ago, I'd already been in the British paddock for quite a long time. There's a lot of pressure building up to you when you've got so many people around you. For my first car race in Ginetta, the pressure on me wasn't as much because, as I said, at Donington, I didn't really have any expectations going into the weekend. But in kart racing, there's so many people watching you and so many expectations, because you're so well known around the paddock. So, it was stressful, but I managed to get the results that I wanted, top 3 in the championship in junior last year. So I couldn't have really asked for much more. It could have gone a couple of places better, but, I built my reputation in Britain. So I'm happy about that.
That's good. In terms of, you making the move into car racing, there are several junior options. And how did you regard Ginetta, and how did you find out about Ginetta and make that part of the plan for you going forward?
Yeah, we looked at several options really. We saw many junior options, as you said, and we saw that Ginetta was part of the BTCC program, on the same weekend, and we thought that would be a really good idea, as we know there's so many spectators watching the BTCC weekend. So many people pay to go there and watch on the grandstand. So we thought that would be really good for us, to get my name out there, to show what I'm really about. There's things like Mazda and MX-5 which you can do outside of junior racing, but we thought that Ginetta was the best way to start really for the whole campaign and career I'm deciding to move on to.
And I first met you at the scholarship last year. I've been lucky enough to be working with the scholarship the last 2 or 3 years. And I looked at my notes today, and I made a note that you'd done a very succinct roundup of the championships you'd race in, just as you've done here on camera. So thanks for that. So you really came across well at the interview, media-wise, at Ginetta, and you made it to the final stage. So it's a tough competition. So to get through to the final must have been great for you.
Yeah, it was great. There was a lot of talented guys out there. There were some guys for the first time, some guys that had done a little bit of practice before that. But, it was difficult because you had to be good at so many things. There was different stages, the driving. Obviously, that was probably the easiest part, to be fair, of the whole thing, driving. Then you had the training sessions and the media. It's not that easy to stand in front of commentators and talk about how easy or how hard your race was. So it was tricky, but I think most of us dealt with it pretty well out there.
Yeah, you all did. As I say, you got through to the final, which was good. And is that where you hooked up with Richardson Racing for the first time?
Yes, it was actually. I'd been in their car at the scholarship, so they made quite an impression to me at the media day, and we were thinking about with which teams we were going to go with. There were many options, but in the end, I think Richardson saw the most potential in me that they could see out of any other team. So, we went with them, and it was the right choice at the end of the day, because obviously now coming out of Donington, it's still a long season ahead, but coming out of Donington, we're leading the championship. So, yeah, I think it was the right choice really going with them for this year.
Talk us through the weekend that you just had at Donington. Obviously, starting with the qualifying session, you qualified third, so you were right up the front straight away. How did the team get you through that? Have you got your own driver coach, or did they provide someone to help you with your mindset and your on track ability?
So the team have got a couple of driver coaches, but the driver coach that was there at the day was Kieran Vernon, and Kieran really helps me out he really gets you mentally focused for the qualifying session, talks you through strategies that you can potentially do in qualifying, but really he focuses your mind on really getting through the qualifying session without anybody really bothering you. Just get it done out there, do the best as possible, whatever happens. But yeah, you got me in a good mindset, and obviously with that good mindset I managed to finish P3 in qualifying for the first race and P2 for the second race. So his advice paid out, but I think what also helped me was he got me relaxed. I didn't really have many expectations for me, because I know many of the drivers on the grid are the top running drivers are quite more experienced than me, obviously, because they did last year. But I was pretty confident. I knew we had the pace to be in top five, but I never expected to be top three or top two for qualifying sessions or even winning races at all. So yeah, that was a big shock for me.
The battles that you were involved in over the races were incredible to watch and indeed to commentate on, as always they are in Ginetta Junior. What did it feel like, and at what point did you realise that a win was on the cards?
Um, to be fair, I always I always have my mind focused on winning, and or when I came out, especially in the second race, actually, that's when I got my first win. When I made that overtake, timed my overtake really perfectly and managed to get a gap. And yeah, I felt like a win was on the cards, but at the time, you start struggling a little bit. The pressure gets on you. I was making a little bit of mistakes. I was getting caught by the guy behind, but I kept my head cool. I managed to keep the position and win the race. But yeah, it just when you're leading your first car race, you get a little bit nervous and you start worrying. You look in your mirrors. It gets a little bit tense, but you just have to control yourself in the car and just calm down a little bit. Just don't look in your mirrors as much. Don't focus on the guy behind. Just look forward. Just worry about what you're doing, and that's what I did at the end. And I managed to get the win. So yeah, that's really my strategy for the race.
Oh, you managed to get 2 wins and the championship lead, so incredible weekend. Second position in the first race and then 2 wins. Live TV interview, how nerve-wracking was that for you? You talked about the scholarship being nerve-wracking, but a live TV interview must have been a new experience too.
Yeah, it was a new experience. It was actually fun doing it, talking to Louise, sharing my thoughts about the race. It wasn't actually too bad for me because, as I said, I enjoyed it, and I always love talking to other people about how I thought about the race and my feelings. So yeah, it was nerve-wracking, but I kind of knew what I had to say, my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions about the race, what happened during the race. Obviously, that third race was incredible between me and Joel Pearson.
Yeah.
The fight really between everyone. There was a couple of drivers coming for the lead, but yeah, it was really fun that weekend. It was extremely fun.
And the next thing I was going to ask is about, moving up the motorsport ladder. You're dual nationality, so you're shared Great British and Bulgarian, I believe. So when did the family come to UK?
We came to UK in actually before I started driving cars. We came 2012 to the UK. So yeah, we moved over. I've actually lived in the UK more than I've lived in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
I've been in the UK for 8 years now, and Bulgaria 6. 6 in Bulgaria. So we decided to make the choice because people like us from Bulgaria, we don't normally get the opportunities that I've gotten at the moment to drive in the top ladder of racing in Britain. I think I'm one of the only people from Bulgaria to race professionally car racing. So, when we've got the opportunity to come here and to prove something for ourselves, our family, you've got to take it. There's no backwards or forwards about it. You just got to take the opportunity because it's once in a lifetime opportunity, really.
Are you finding much interest out in Bulgaria in your career now? Because I know in F4 this year, junior driver last year, Roman Belinsky, is dual nationality Polish, UK and Polish, and
Yeah.
he's actually registered in F4 as Polish. So, and he's found that he's got some support out there.
Yeah.
Will you be talking to the media out there about your racing?
Yeah, I will. Of course I will. I think now that I've moved up into cars, everybody's starting to get more interested, media starting to get more interested. So I'll definitely try and find some support because obviously at the moment, I'm only getting backed up by my dad, really, by his business. So at one point, obviously, in my career, we'll have to find someone who's ready to support me, really. And it's a good shout talking to media in Bulgaria to get my name noticed around the whole country. So yeah, that'll be really good for me if I find someone to support me through my career.
You mentioned your dad. You're the Georgi Dimitrov Jr. So your dad's Georgie. What's your mum's name?
Daisy.
Daisy. Just so that we name check them, and I know they enjoy wrestling. What does Dad do for a living? So what does the company do that's helping you out?
They're a property maintenance company, so they do everything for building work and extensions. They do everything. They're an amazing service to everyone. Um, they've been around for around about, well, as long as we've been here, really. Actually, they've been around for about 10 years. So my dad's got a nice, good name for himself in places like Cambridge. So yeah, they've been working extremely hard recently because it's super difficult to keep up with everything in Ginetta, obviously, with budget wise. But yeah, we've been holding up strongly coming into the championship. So yeah.
My final question before we go is to ask the championship leader, how do you prepare for this weekend at Brands Hatch?
Preparation, I have a sim obviously at home, so preparing on the sim all the time, learning the circuit because I've never actually been at Brands GP, which is not an overly good thing heading into a race weekend. But yeah, preparing on the simulator. I'm on track, I think, tomorrow at a track day, so I'll get feels of the car there, see how it is, see how it is all, and yeah, just get feels for it. I'm here. I've got pressure on me now that I'm championship leader, but oth- other than that, I'm just there to enjoy myself. Learning new tracks, learning new techniques. It's all going to help me for the future. So extremely excited. Preparation, is key, but I'm more focused on enjoying myself throughout the weekend, seeing how it all goes. If I don't finish top five, I don't finish top five. There's so many rounds to go till the rest of the season, but it's just starting for me. So whatever happens on the race weekend.
Well, Georgie, we wish you good luck with your preparation and Brands Hatch. Look forward to seeing you there. Actually, I probably won't see you there in person because we've got the social distancing and the paddock bubble and the media
Yeah.
bubble, which is another reason why it's a good idea to have these chats. But we wish you well for that. And thank you very much for joining us. And we'll have another chat in the very near future, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you.